Hello there, welcome back. We are now looking at the colour effects. We just finished off the bump effects and now we're moving on to colour effects. So this one shouldn't take as long as the others, but still a little bit of explaining. So let's get cracking, shall we? So first up we have this, which is, you've got three colour effects. The first one uses a noise texture. The other one, Color Effects 2 uses a Musgrave node texture, and Color Effects 3 uses a wave texture for good reason, and I'll get to that when I get to it. So yeah, as you can see, this is Color Effects 1, and I've got a light color here and black, for good reason, because I only want to see this color. So I've got, the wall, the actual color of the wall is still underneath. I just want to add a bit of, dust with lighter colors, and screen will only display lighter shades and will completely ignore black, and just as though it's transparent. So that's why that one's there. You can change that if you want, but I've just set it up this way because underneath there's another one that's also multiply. We've discussed object position mapping right now because we're just doing this. It doesn't make a huge difference. If I swap that, it wouldn't, I don't think it'd do anything at all. No. So right now it's not that important. Excuse me. But I do have this one, just a reminder, object generated mapping. I've still got that one turned up because if I don't, we'll get that stretchy rubbishness on the side here. So that's why for Color FX 1, I think that's probably best to just leave it at generated unless something goes wrong. So the color ramp, here we go, position 1, position 2, you know what they do. This would be this color and the black would be this color. So I've pushed the black in a bit because I want these gaps, and I've brought the white across closer to the black so that there's a bit of a, it's not too sharp a contrast, but there is some contrast between this color and that color. Okay, and then yep, you've got your overall scale and vertical and horizontal scale, just like when we were making the planks. That's what those two are for. And then you got your bog standard, controls for a noise filter. Take the detail. We got blotches, and that was, I used that when I was making a tank image because I wanted some camouflage. So I took all the detail out and then just added made it look tanky. So yeah, that's Color Effects 1. Color Effects 2 is the old Musgrave, and as you see, they're gonna mix if you want them to. This is how I got the camouflage effect, because they're not set to mix. If this was set to mix, it's only going to display black and it's now going to change this bit to black because that's what that color is, because it's saying I want black and this color to display. So we got black and this color to display. So that's why that is set to screen. And now we've let those bits come through of the actual wall color. So, and yeah, this one's set to multiply, so it's going to ignore white and only show darker shades. It's the opposite of screen, basically. As your color ramp positions again, and dimension is the one that I find most useful with Musgrave, because if it's at actually, let's just turn off Color Effects 1 so it's not so confusing. Go on your bike, and let's, it's on screen, so multiply, get it right. Okay, so yeah, the dimension at the moment is at 1.24, so it's very fuzzy. Not fuzzy, it's just a bit soft. But take the dimension down to like 0.3, and then as you see, it becomes similar to how Color Effects 1 was looking. So you get this bittiness. So you've already got a bunch of control just with two color effects filters there. Now this one, excuse me, Color Effects 3 is good to talk about, and it's actually arranged itself in a good enough way for me to explain why it's a wave. So it's a wave texture because of this specific purpose. You've got control of having it, the wave, the filter only affect the lower section of this wall, as though, in life it's dirtier down there than it is in it is higher up the wall. It's in overlay, by the way. is what I've set this one to, just to switch it up a little bit. So yeah, I wanted, but say for instance you wanted this dust to be at the top of the wall instead. That's what this is for, phase offset. So I normally left click and shift, and then just start moving it. Hang on. Normally, if you take the subdivision surface off, or at least lower it to, I don't know, 1, then your window will update far quicker. Alright, 1 might be a bit of a stretch. 2, that'll do. So I can see it here. So when I shift and move the phase offset, it's really not updating as quick. I'm just going to turn that off. Try that. There we go. So you might be able to see that. Well, there we go. Yeah, I've moved it to the top now, and that's phase offset. It's just basically shifting it up or shifting it down, so that you can get like a band, as I say, a band of colour. In fact, if I put the scale right up, and just put subs back up and turn it on. So if I put the scale at 5, let me try and make it a bit of a better colour to see. Green. In fact, let me just change this to screen. I'm going to change that to black, and I'm going to change this to screen. So you can see here we've got these bands happening. Maybe just take the scale down a bit to 3. There we are. So yeah, it's clearly a wave pattern, and it's bitty because I've put the distortion and detail scale up. But you can mess with them to make them clean bands if you wanted to. But there is also a vertical and horizontal switch, so you can go vertical instead, and now you got these. So if I wanted, say I wanted maybe this corner to be dirty but not anywhere else, it's going to be between scale and phase offset that I achieve that. So if I go real far down, 0.5, I can now see I have a band here. So if I maybe go right, let's see, where's it going? No, I've actually got to go left. So I'm just going to try and position that band, but I might have to change the scale because now it's creeping in here, so it's obviously going to be a wave. So I'm going to take the scale down to 0.3. I mean, that does the job. It's a bit dirty here, a bit dirty there, and it will be likely a bit dirty over here and all somewhere. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but yeah, so you've kind of framed the wall with dirt, and you can do the same thing. I did the same thing with a pathway. I just put in an alleyway scene, I did long path, and I wanted the edges of the path to be dirty as they would be in life, because water's run down it and bits have ended up there, so it's darker on the edges. And that's just because I had a wave set up, and I set the scale so that only both of the edges had the grit and dirt and the middle didn't, so it gives it a more natural feel. So phase offset is very useful with Color Effects 3, and between scale and phase offset you can get pretty much exactly what you need and position it in a way that's the most useful. And of course, as I say, you muck around with this if you want. Overlay, it was set at, I believe. Yes, so that's even better. So we can see. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Let me just see if changing the mapping makes much of a difference. Well, it does, but I may have to add a generated mapping for that one as well, because that looks confusing to me. We'll see. Okay, so yeah, that's the color effects done. 3 of them to use, and these are your mixers, and all the mixing amounts are here. So next we're going to move over to this one, Principal BSDF Dust Dielectric Edgeware. I couldn't think of a more succinct title, so I'm stuck with that one. And for some reason it's over there. I need to move that. It's not very centered, is it? I don't know what's happened there. Yeah, so that's the next one, and then we'll move on to Emission, and we might even do emission. There's probably no point doing emission on its own. We're going to do these two, I think. You know what? No, we're going to do emission now. It's one thing. It's very simple to explain. First of all, I will just drop the scale of the bricks to 0.01 because I want to get rid of them. And if we go over to emission, you can just slide it in, and that is now emitting. So if I let me turn the background off. If I put something in like, I don't know, a sphere, an other sphere, come on, and then put that there, you can see it is emitting. White, yeah, you get it. So it's emitting, and that was, I just needed some neon signs, and I thought rather than mucking about adding an emission shader, and it's there, it just makes it easier. And you've got the usual scale, detail, roughness, distortion. It's another noise filter. There's the strength, and this is the color ramp, as you can see. I've bought some black in 0.3, and the rest of it is white, or in the filter 0.7. So you can kind of create, you know, stars, I suppose. Let's put the scale up to 4. You know, distort it a bit more, you got a star. And you could probably animate that as well, actually. Yeah, you can. You just animate the distortion in a way, and you get a star. Is one thing I can think to do with it. So that's emission covered too. That was very quick and very easy. So color effects, emission, we're done. I'll see you in the next one in this very long title here. This one may take a little while, but we'll do it. Alright, until then, bye bye.